Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I will be discussing about some of the benefits of working in Dubai, and I will be covering some major points that you should consider. I have already noted down everything here so that I don't forget anything or any benefit that you should know. So let's quickly get started with the video. With the introduction of the Federal Decree Law number 33 of 2021, some major changes were brought in the UAE Labour Law, and certain new provisions were introduced for the benefits of the employees. So the very first benefit is you get an employee visa that is sponsored by the employer, which means that all the resultant costs, government fees and everything relating to your visa is covered by your employer. So the visa for the employment visa is issued for 2 years, and along with the visa you get the Emirates ID, which is similar to our Aadhaar card that we have in India. So it is all the costs for the visa, the Emirates ID, the medical examination that is to happen before the issuance of the visa. Everything is to be covered by the employer, and you do not have to bear any such costs. And also it is strictly prohibited by the law that employers cannot either directly or indirectly take this money from the employees. So it is very important to know that when you come to UAE, you do not have to pay anything to the employer. This is the duty of the employer to sponsor your visa, and all the costs have to be borne by the employer only. Now, with the employment visa comes the medical insurance also. So that is also the duty upon the employer to get the medical insurance of the employees done for the entire duration of your employment. And starting from the day 1 till your last day of employment, all the medical insurance costs is to be paid by the employer, and they cannot claim this cost back from you. And it has been my personal experience that when I got sick a couple of months back, my insurance covered everything, and all the medicines, the tests and everything was included in the insurance. And I just had to pay a basic charge of 8 to 10 dirhams, and that too was just to cover the prescription cost, and nothing else was. I was not liable to pay anything to the hospital, or either for the tests or for the medicines also. So this is a very important thing to consider, because we understand that medical facilities abroad can be a bit expensive. So it is better that you get your medical insurance, and that too is again sponsored by your employer. Next comes a notice period before termination. So it is very good that the UAE law does not permit the employer to terminate any employee without giving a notice. There are certain circumstances in which the employer has the right to terminate the employee without giving a notice period, because those circumstances include a major breach or breach of confidentiality, or something that is against the laws that the employee commits. Only in those circumstances the employer can terminate the employee without serving the notice. Otherwise, it is a mandatory requirement that the notice period has to be served by the employee. An employer cannot directly terminate the employee. So to consider, for during the probation, there is a mandatory requirement to serve a notice period of 15 days or 14 days. And after termination, it is after the probation, it ranges from 1 month to 3 months, that is 30 days to 90 days, depending upon whatever you have agreed with your employer in the contract. Now, next important thing to consider as a benefit is that the law says that an employee is permitted to work for only 8 hours a day and 48 hours a week. So the employer cannot legally ask you to work for more hours, and if in case you are required to work for more hours, then the employer has to pay the overtime. And next, considering leaves, we all as employees, we all want leaves, because we need some days off from our work, and we need some time off to go back to our home country, to meet our family or to travel. So it is very important that the UAE law provides you plenty of leaves to enjoy for the rest of your for the whole year. So starting with the sick leave, It is not something that you enjoy, but yes, it is a mandatory requirement, and because of human body we need it. So six leaves you get, the sick leaves you get for 90 days, out of which 15 days have to be a fully paid leave. 30 days you get your half pay, and the remaining 45 days there is no salary paid for those 45 days, but you can claim those leave. And another thing to consider, the employer cannot terminate your employment due to that medical reason, quoting that medical reason, without allowing you to take all your 90 days of sick leave. So another important benefit, annual leaves we get for 90 days. Now there is something different about the annual leaves. During the probation period, it is not mandatory by the employer to give you the annual leaves, but after you have completed 6 months, from the 7th month till the completion of your 1 year, you get 2 leaves for every month, and after the completion of 1 year you get 30 leaves. So once you complete your 1 year with your employer, you are entitled to get 30 days of leaves. In addition to the annual and sick leave, there are other categories also, including the maternity leave, the parental leave. Parental leave is given to both father and mother at the time of childbirth, or during a duration of 6 months from the delivery date, and bereavement leave, which is given in case of death of a close relative. Along with these, you can also agree with your employer to take any unpaid leave in case of any emergency. You can take an unpaid leave after taking approval from your employer. Now, another important thing that I really appreciate is the method of payment of the salaries. So the UAE government has introduced a scheme of wages protection system, under which the employers are required to pay the salaries to the employees directly in their bank account by the end of every month or by the due date. And in case of any default, there are serious penalties. So the WPS system actually prevents any kind of exploitation or instances where the salaries are not paid, because every month the employer has to keep a track that they are paying a salary, and they have to provide a proof of such payment to the department, to the Ministry of Human Resources and Emiratisation, that is the MOHRE. So this scheme is introduced under the MOHRE to make sure that the employees are paid their salary in time, and there is no default in payment of salaries by the employer. Now there is an application of the MOHRE that you can download on your phones, and that gives you all the details about your employment. You get a copy of your contract, your labor card, your Emirates ID, your passport, and all the other details are provided in your account when you register with the MOHRE on the application. And you can also keep a track of your WPS, because that is also something that comes on the application. And there is another important a very good feature that is available on the application, that you can lodge a confidential complaint in case there is a delay in payment of salaries, or if the employee or if your employer is not paying your salaries. So it will be a confidential complaint. The details of the employee will not be communicated to the employer, and the ministry will take cognizance of the matter to make sure that there is no such default, and the complaint will be answered in a very professional and in a very safe manner. So do download the application of MOHRE and get your account registered over there. Next, we have the end of service benefits. There is a very good scheme for the gratuity, and every employee who completes 1 year of employment with the same employer is entitled to get a end of service benefits, that is the gratuity. To avoid any such to avoid any confusion in the calculation of the gratuity, the ministry has the gratuity calculator, in which you just have to put your salary, your first day of job and your last day of the job, and it automatically calculates the amount of gratuity that you are entitled to get. So that is another important benefit that you get. Some other things to consider are, there is no income tax. Yes, there is zero income tax no matter how much you earn. There is zero income tax on your personal income. Whether you are earning 5,000 dirhams or you are earning 50,000 dirhams, whatever you earn goes into your own pocket. You don't have to pay any tax on that. So this is something that as an Indian, I feel that yes, this is something that is a very big advantage for me to get everything that I earn in my pocket and not to pay any taxes or any other fees or anything of that sort. So zero income tax is something that is very beneficial for us as employees. You have your living rights reserved, you have your employment rights reserved, everything is covered, and you get a safe place to live. Talking about safety, there is very low crime rate. I have not heard any crime happening in UAE that is not being dealt with by the police department. And firstly, there is very low crime rate, and secondly, even if something happens, there is very speedy disposal of those cases. Safety is something that we all consider in this at this point of time, because I as a girl would personally feel safe walking on the streets when I know that there is no problem for me to live in this country and nobody can question anything about my appearance or about where am I going at night. So that is something that I seriously consider as a very good advantage in comparison to living in any other country. Next, we have very excellent infrastructure and health facilities along with lifestyle. I was reading an article the other day that UAE has been declared as the social media capital of the world. So lifestyle, I don't think I have to speak much about the lifestyle of Dubai, how royal and how fascinating it is. The nightlife, the day life, you go to a club, you don't want to go to a club, you just want to go to the beaches, everything, you get everything over here. So I personally feel that my lifestyle after shifting here has improved. So that is another important thing that we get as an advantage or a benefit of living in Dubai. Last is I would consider the geographical location is quite is very advantageous because it is very near to my home country. Also, it's just 2.5 or 3 hours of flight. So if I feel homesick, I don't have to consider that I have to take a long flight and I have to plan my trip. I have to plan 1 month before because I know the flights will be long. So that is point number one. Very close to my home country. And secondly, its geographical location is very convenient for traveling to different parts of the world as well. If you want to explore Europe, it's not that far. If you want to roam around in the GCC, very convenient. You want to go to the Asian countries, very convenient. So with the point considering the point of view that you want to travel also and you want to be near to your home country also, very good option. And I don't think I would have been so happy in any other country than I am here. And all the myths that it is very difficult to survive outside in a foreign country, I know it is difficult, but Dubai is like a second home to me, and I feel very comfortable here because of all the benefits that I get as an employee, as a resident, and all the medical facilities and infrastructure that I get. So this was all I wanted to share, and I will be covering some of the other points also. This was the happy side. I will be covering the difficult part also. So stay tuned. See you in my next video. Bye.